Well, hello, my badass friends. My name is Cece, and this is my badass life. Today is June 15th, and June 15th is Good Job Not Dying Day. Today, I celebrate 3 years in remission from stage 3B rectal cancer. It's a huge win, and I am so grateful to be here and to be on this planet, even now, with all the chaos happening. I am super grateful to be alive. And because of that, and while today is a big day of celebration, I also can't help but think about all of the other cancer survivors out there. And by survivors, I mean anybody in any stage of the cancer journey. So survivors aren't just people in remission. They're people who have been diagnosed with cancer. There are people who are still in treatment. There are people who are still battling cancer, maybe those with metastatic cancer. Survivors are anybody on the cancer spectrum. And today, I have huge concerns. And so I can't help but want to use this day of celebration for me as a message to everyone else. So, as we all know, since this administration, cancer research and funding has been decimated, cut everywhere, especially at universities, which do the most research. And now, with the big bad bill coming, we will find another 37% of cancer funding cut, if that's even possible at this point. And we are now also facing a Supreme Court decision where pre-screenings will now potentially not be covered by insurance. And that means colorectal cancer screenings like colonoscopies, which is the most effective way to identify colorectal cancers. And another big one this week is that the current administration is now talking about taking down or getting rid of the National Cancer Registries. Now, let me help you understand a little bit about why the National Cancer Registry is important. It's important because it's what tracks who gets what cancer at what age, okay? And let's take colorectal cancer, for instance. So right now, number 2 cancer killer in the United States, 1 in 5 people under age 55 get diagnosed, so it's no longer an old person's disease. And in fact, they are predicting by 2030, it will be the number 1 cancer killer of people under the age of 40. And so if we're not tracking those numbers, if we're not tracking who's getting cancer, that tracking used to contribute to everything from how funding gets allotted, which if that's going away, who needs a registry, right? But also to track who's getting these cancers and the age groups. And the age groups are very important to talk about targeted treatments, to talk about investigating why are these cancers happening earlier and earlier. And so bottom line is, without tracking, we're screwed. And without funding, we're screwed. And so I'm going to ask you today, on my behalf, if you would please make a call or send an email to your senators and or to the Supreme Court, or just anybody in the current administration who is opposing cancer research and funding and wanting to get rid of the National Cancer Registry and wanting to stop coverage for pre-screenings, let them know how you feel about this, because I'm here to tell you, every one of us knows somebody with a cancer or who's had cancer. And God forbid, you might be somebody with cancer one day. I can honestly tell you that I am here, alive and thriving in remission for 3 years because of cancer research. That's all there is to it. Every other person in America deserves to also have the opportunity to be cured of cancer, to live a happy, healthy, thriving life in remission. Another element of the big bad bill is that it will cut healthcare for approximately 16 million, that's million Americans. 16 million Americans without healthcare. And that doesn't include what they're going to go after in terms of the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, which, by the way, is where I buy my insurance because I am between the years of retirement and when I can collect Social Security. And so I buy my plan through the ACA. If ACA goes away, that means I have no coverage for anything. So not only cancer research going away, the National Cancer Registry is going away. And by the way, the United States is the leader of medical research in the world. Why would we want to give up that status? It makes no sense to me, people. None. Absolutely no freaking sense. If we want to be America first, then why would we give up the things that we're already so damn good at? So again, and without healthcare, we're one of the only countries in the entire world that has a healthcare system that regularly fails our citizens. It's horrifying. I've learned so much in these last several months that I never really wanted to know, kind of like the cancer journey. I learned so much that I never really wanted to know. But boy, it has certainly enlightened me. And I feel like now part of my job is to also enlighten you. What's happening right now says to me that the powers that be, this administration, they don't care about us. They don't care about any of us. And quite frankly, they don't care if we live or die. As long as they get to line their pockets and maintain their power, they don't care. They don't care. And what they really don't realize is that cancer doesn't discriminate, not based on socioeconomic status, not based on your place in the government. It doesn't discriminate. And therefore, any one of them could get a diagnosis any day of the week. And somehow I think that if they did, they would probably then want cancer research and funding. But by then, it could be too late. And, I hate to say it, but this brings up a little bit of the COVID thing to me because, eventually what happened is some states just stopped reporting on who was getting COVID and who wasn't. So then we didn't really know what was happening with COVID. And so it's kind of like this idea to me that if we pretend like it doesn't exist, then some people think it'll go away. Well, guess what? It doesn't go away. It just kills people. That said, I'm very happy to be here today. I'm actually super grateful to be able to be here and speak out for my fellow cancer survivors, all cancer survivors, not just colorectal cancer survivors. And I ask you to help us do the same. Please, 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 please. Thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Always keeping an eye on me and always being supportive. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Good job not dying day.